we're going to do another one of these roundup things where we just take all the stories that we couldn't fit into their own video and just rapid fire go through them and give you guys our knee-jerk responses to the headlines. Go ahead and start with the first one, Mike.
So every generation has something to say about rotary phones from Slate. Basically, the story just talks about, there's a new trend of viral videos of teenagers trying to use rotary phones. Really, the only reason I thought it was interesting because we talked about millennials. The article talks about how we're one of the last groups that probably know what a rotary phone even is. And then one of the tropes of watching the video is the quiet realization that these kids might not even know what a dial tone is. You and I have talked about it in person a couple of times, that's one of those sounds that's, a lot of people aren't going to know what it is anymore. Apparently that's already happened. So I thought that was kind of worth noting. Feel old yet?
A little.
Yeah.
Did it say sort of what age the people are who have never heard a dial tone? Are we talking teenagers or is it
basically kids born after 2000? They're calling it Generation Z, I think. Which, we're old, man. It's been the kids born in 2000 are 19 now. So
yeah, for sure. We are no longer even close to that age bracket.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still in the 18 to 35, which I know is still like the biggest, most important age group in terms of marketing and stuff. I mean, I'm not an expert on that, but
it's an interesting divide because we are just old enough to have come in at the tail end of walls or of phones being on walls.
Yeah, wall phones, VCRs, tape cassettes,
and now all of that you carry in your pocket. So it was just kind of it just for me that the dial tone thing it just really hit it home because like when you use a cell phone you just don't hear that. So moving on, Trump jokes about staying on past 2 terms. If that isn't ominous enough, there's this great quote. Trump told supporters, oh, by the way, this is from The Hill. So Trump told supporters at an outdoor rally that if he suggested he might stay in office past 2 terms, the media would respond by saying, "See, he's a despot. Yep, you're right. That makes you a despot." He continued on to say, "There will be headlines tomorrow. Donald Trump wants to break Constitution." Trump predicted before adding that he was making the comments to annoy fakers in the media. Yeah, it's breaking the Constitution, dude. Like, does our president of the United States not know that the Constitution says presidents only get 2 terms? Seems like a fucking huge oversight.
Well, and furthermore, what are they making fun of us for now? Is it just kind of an ad absurdum mentality where, because literally what they're saying is, it's funny that I can blatantly say that I would do things that are against the values that every American would purport to have, and ha ha ha, you guys will get mad about it. And it seems like that's the perfectly rational response to anybody who's, yes, if a president is claiming that they're going to take more than 2 terms and continues to joke about inciting violence and calls Nazis good people and refuses to denounce all of the dictators in the world and that we're in bed with, I would say that that's ripe for criticism. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Meanwhile, Ag Barr jokes with Pelosi, "Did you bring your handcuffs?" Also from The Hill. Apparently they were waiting for Trump to arrive and they were in a tent somewhere out on the West Lawn and were overheard where Ag Barr goes up to Pelosi and said, "Hey, did you bring your handcuffs?" Like he was joking. And then she merely pointed out the sergeant at arms and said, "He's here if it's needed." Kind of funny, but like, I don't know that like our attorney general, especially when there's claims that he's a liar and that he's, basically has no credit, no value anymore. I don't know if it's as funny as he thinks it is for him to be, "Ha ha ha, did you bring handcuffs?" Like, no, like, dude, you might actually be going to jail. Like, that's not going to be funny when you do.
Yeah, it's getting to the point now where Trump's cronies are so emboldened that they think his veil of protection is going to be reliable enough that they can spit directly into the face of the Congress and the American people and get away with it. My estimation is that probably the reason they're doing it is that they will get away with it. I've also said like I don't see so far I haven't seen anything that makes me think that Trump isn't going to get reelected. And I don't.
Sad but true.
Yeah, I mean that's not really a super lucid response to the story that you just brought up.
Yeah,
But
we could ramble on about our criticisms of the Democratic Party, but suffice it to say,
the Republican Party.
What'd you say?
Well, this time we're criticizing the Republicans, not the.
No, I'm saying we could go on about our criticisms of the Democrats. But
Oh yeah, we could.
If they don't get their shit together, like Trump wins. So
yeah, I don't even know
on.
if it's. Yeah, I don't think it matters. I think he wins either way, but
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
So 183 Republicans vote against bill to protect people with pre-existing conditions. This one was from Think Progress. Basically, every single House Democrat and 4 Republicans voted in favor of the bill. It's called H.R. 986. And it's literally the entire point of the bill is to just protect people with pre-existing conditions.
Yeah.
The article also went on to note that these are many of the same politicians who promised, I won't vote for bills that violate pre-existing conditions. I'll stand up for you. I'll fight for people with pre-existing conditions. And then they just didn't.
No, of course not.
Trump, however, is expected to veto it. So maybe small shining light there, because he actually has said we're not going to go after pre-existing conditions. And it sounds as though he's probably just going to veto that. And so we'll see.
No, you confused me. So does the bill protect the people? So
yeah, and
wouldn't we not want him to veto that?
Yeah, we don't want him to, because from what I understand, like, it did pass, but he's expected to veto it, even though he said we're not going to go after him.
Yeah. Okay. So this is bad.
Yeah. No, it's bad. So we'll see. It's just. I don't know how the state of pre-existing conditions is now, is I guess where my confusion arises. So I don't know how bad that is, because I know, like, there are insurance plans that people have that cover pre-existing conditions currently. So I just don't know how ominous this is, other than just...
It's extremely ominous.
Okay. So I just figured it was, at the very least, it was worth noting that it was also odious that, like, just again and again, Republicans they go out of their way to be giant pieces of shit, and then dumbass yokels in the country go, yeah, I like them, they're cool.
Yeah, they agree with me on loose, fantastical, ideological positions that don't really affect me, and so therefore I'll vote them into office and let them fuck me on real issues that do affect me on a day-to-day basis. Insert, they pay lip service to my irrational hatred of Mexicans because of the small amount of the budget that I perceive that they might be taking advantage of. And so I will vote in Republicans, even though they will directly fuck me on my health insurance premiums and my taxes right in front of me. So it shows you how deep the desire is for tribalism and for bigotry, that people will just bend over and spread their cheeks for the spike dick on most issues that they're, the cost of living, the cost of health insurance, their taxes, all of these things, their civil liberties, the rights of women, like all of these things can just be fucked in broad daylight as long as they pay lip service to my hatred of brown people and the poor.
Yep. Every Senate vote for Alabama's abortion ban was from a white man. There's a couple different sources that said this one. Kind of old news, but it's been it was one that we didn't get to. I'm not surprised. I just, and the interesting thing is, if you watch the video of the Alabama House meeting or whatever, I can't remember if it was the House or the Senate, but it's from the floor. The one guy that was literally like yelling, no, like they violated some procedure I can't remember what it uh, was a black guy, like a young black guy, and he was the only one that was literally saying like, you can't just ramrod this through, like you didn't do the call proper. And the House president was just like, yeah, we did, sorry. And it just caused like this big ruckus on the floor. And he's the one that also then came out and apologized and said like, yeah, I'm super sorry that we passed this because like it's crappy. So that guy's a good guy. Like I don't know much about him. I don't even know his name, but I'm intending to find out more about him because he seems like he'd be a good dude. So,
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say on this topic except for um, it's no surprise that the least educated state in the Union has the poster for, the spitting image of everything that is wrong with white patriarchal hegemony. It's the textbook. There's way too much religious bullshit. There's way too much uneducated, unresearched moral grandstanding. There's way too much of everything that is bad about America concentrated in Alabama. And this is what happens when you elect an ideologue to the presidency. And that siren that you're hearing, that's not the police. That's just a sound that reminds you that the world's dying.